What is going on, guys? This is your boy XQ420. Welcome everybody back. Another episode Showtime with the Cube. Tonight, we've got the council with us, all right? We've got the powerful one, Corey Hughes. Powerful. How you doing? Doing
Excellent, thank you. Yes.
Of course, we got the aficionado himself, Ryder Lee. Ryder, are you excellent this afternoon?
Doing great. Looking forward to the discussion. Let's do it.
Yeah, all right, guys. If it's your first time to this channel, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube, listen to us on podcast platforms. Hit that follow button. We appreciate everybody who's been checking us out so far. So today, we're going to be discussing The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. Episode 1. Now, this thing kicked off, what was it? I think 2019 was the first season of The Mandalorian, if I'm correct. 2019.
Was there a skipped year or something because of COVID? Or?
I believe so. Well, no. I think, if I'm correct, I think it went 19 and then 2020, and then I think the 21 and 22 was skipped. If I'm correct, so that I believe the initial filming was done like late 17, 18, and then they filmed again, released it in 2020, and then there was a couple year hiatus in between there. Now we've had a couple of projects as far as Star Wars projects. One of the since that point in time, of course, we've had the Kenobi series, and then we've had the Book of Boba Fett as well. Which, unbeknownst to me, I have not watched the Book of Boba Fett. But if you did not watch the Book of Boba Fett, you would be like me, wondering what the hell is happening at the beginning of this particular episode. With the Mandalorian.
Did you go back and power watch Book of Boba Fett?
No, I didn't realize that until I ain't gonna lie to you, until today. I was just like, man, something's off. Why do I feel like I missed something? I feel like I missed a whole lot. You know, I was like, something's not clicking.
You see,
yeah,
this is what I don't like. Like they force you to watch other series. Now, why couldn't they just take all this crap that you have to see in order to understand what's going on and make it one series? How about that?
Yeah. It could just be Star Wars the series.
Right, Star Wars the series. There we go.
That's it.
You should be on the board of like Warner Brothers.
Book of Boba Fett was sort of like Mandalorian Season 3. That's what they did. It's a quasi new series that was basically a new Mandalorian season.
They should have just let Boba Fett be. Boba Fett was fine, dead in the Sarlacc pit. We didn't need a whole story after that.
Yeah, but see, they brought back Boba Fett in the second season of The Mandalorian, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got everybody like, oh, yeah, well, Boba Fett needs to have his own series. So then they made Book of Boba Fett. I actually didn't mind Book of Boba Fett. I thought it was actually pretty good.
It's
worth a watch.
Going from being the most badass bounty hunter in the fucking galaxy to being like, some gangster thug who rules over a neighborhood. Like, come on.
Over a local neighborhood. He's a neighborhood bully. Is that what he is? I mean, I said that's what it is. But now look, look once again, that unbeknownst to me, guys, if you didn't get to watch the Book of Boba Fett, okay, if you remember from season 2, which here's what caught me right at the beginning, is the fact that when they did flashbacks to whatever the previous season was, like they didn't go back to season 2. They went back to season 1. I was like, oh, why y'all showing me the death robot? I'm like, hold on a second. Did I dream up season 2? Ahsoka? Ahsoka? Didn't Grogu go with Luke? I'm like, man, hold on a second, man. And so that's what it just clicked. It just clicked in my mind today. I'm like, hold on, let me look something up. And they were like, oh yeah, if you didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian was in 3 of the episodes. Hell, it ain't but 6 episodes. Isn't that all it is? I mean, she's in half of them. I was like, well, damn, cuz y'all gotta let me know if this is required viewing. And like you said, Corey, that every series is starting to do that. How do you feel about that?
They just try to pull you into why. It's about getting clicks, man. It's clickbait. That's what it is. Like continuous storylines. You got to remember, I'm an old guy, and I'm always going to opine over the 80s and the 90s when you didn't get this kind of story crossover, right? If you got the story crossover, it was a once in a decade event, and it was glorious, and then you didn't see it again ever, right? But here we got to intertangle every goddamn storyline just to make sure people tune in, right? So I'm going to tune in either way. You don't have to intertwine these storylines. This is like Vince McMahon trying to pull guys from Raw and put them on SmackDown. And like the SmackDown people are like, yo, bro, you need to chill with that Raw shit.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Man said that's it to a T. Oh man. Okay. So, Ryder, do you feel similarly about having to have required viewing? Now, if I'm correct, Kenobi doesn't intertwine with either one of these. If I'm correct, am I correct there?
I really don't mind this in the Star Wars universe because it's not as convoluted and crazy as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is.
I give them that much.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is ridiculous. It's wild. They got too much going on. Too many movies, too many freaking TV shows to keep track of, right? With Star Wars, there's not that. We haven't had a Star Wars movie since the last of the trilogy, that new trilogy, Rise of Skywalker or whatever, and that was like almost 4 years ago. How many Marvel movies have we had in the past 3 or 4 years? How many Marvel TV shows have we had in the past 3 or 4 years? So I don't mind that they're doing this with the Star Wars universe because it makes more sense to do it with the Star Wars universe because they're not releasing a shit ton of content every year.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mandalorian, there's Book of Boba Fett, there's that new one, what's
Andor,
and then what is there? Obi-Wan, right? And Obi-Wan was just a one-off thing. They did those 8 episodes and they're done with Obi-Wan. That was just kind of a thing for the fans that was completely horrible and dog shit. But there's only 3 other Star Wars shows out there right now, and there's no Star Wars movies. So I think that if there's a way for it to work, this is the way that it works, right? It's not like the Marvel cinematic bullshit where you have 7, 8 different Marvel TV shows running at the exact same time, along with 4 or 5 Marvel movies a year. It's different, I think.
Hey, I mean, you did just go to the theme of The Mandalorian. This is the way. That's what you got to always remember. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. Catching people up to speed. If you didn't tune into the Book of Boba Fett, all right, and you're wondering like, well, Grogu left to be trained by the Jedi. Well, in the Book of Boba Fett, there's a decision that gets made whether Grogu wants to go with the Jedi and continue training or go back with Mando, and he decides to go back with Mando. So that's why Mando currently has Grogu.
So let me comment on that right quick because like the idea that little Yoda Jr. needs to abide by Luke Skywalker's timeline on training is fucking ridiculous. He's going to live to be 900 years old, right? Luke Skywalker is going to be like a blip in the memory, and he's going to be the most badass Jedi in the whole galaxy, right? So like he can go take as much time as he wants to go fuck off with fucking Mando, and that training is going to wait as long as he wants. That's how I feel about it.
Hold. So the age is a little bit different there. So at how many hundreds of years would he be technically too old? You know what I'm saying? If we going in the old order.
Well, he's 50 years old, right? Didn't they already say he's 50?
I think so. Yeah.
He's probably as old as Luke is already. So he ain't gonna need any help. You just know he's gonna be a badass. He ain't gonna need no traditional training. He's gonna rewrite the whole Jedi Codex, and that's how it's gonna go.
Do we think Grogu's gonna be when they eventually, because they're gonna eventually do another Star Wars film? Do you think Grogu's gonna be in it? Because I guess technically this is before Rey and Kylo Ren and all that stuff. So
they're making another Star Wars.
They have to.
I mean, they're eventually gonna make one, man. It's too much money.
But the real question is here: how old does Grogu get before he actually starts looking old? And he's not cute anymore, and they can't sell freaking little Grogu stuffed animal toys and all these action figures and shit that the children love.
At least another couple seasons.
This is going to be like a South Park situation where they're going to be in the 4th grade for freaking 25 seasons and running for like 20 years now.
Hey, Maggie from The Simpsons has been an infant for 40 years, so.
And so no, you see I wonder how many episodes there are. You see that could be a key factor because they say each episode is a day. So I would kind of wonder how many episodes there are. They should age a little bit. If there's 1,000 episodes, at least get 3 years in. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Things are different in the cartoons themselves. And what made this particular TV show popular right out the beginning was Grogu. I mean, right out the gate. That's the first thing people talked about. They ain't talk about the actual Mandalorian himself. They talked about, oh man, it's Baby Yoda. Because everybody was like, hey, it's something that they know. It's iconic from the original movies. So that was actually a big following. So I understand how they were like, man, can we really get Grogu out of this series? Is that really the smartest idea? So what do you think about that, Corey?
I don't know. I don't see him being in any films coming out. I feel like his existence is going to be limited to this TV run.
Okay. Ryder, what do you think? Do you think they're going to continue to try to ride the wave of this cash cow into future productions, potentially?
Well, they have to. I mean, that was the whole reason that they brought him back within the Book of Boba Fett so soon. It was like Mando gave away Yoda to Luke whenever he came and saved him on that ship at the end of season 2. And then all of a sudden, there wasn't even a Mandalorian season. And then Grogu's back with Mando. So it was essential to the plot line of the show. And they knew that Grogu is the biggest selling point of this entire series. If Grogu isn't there, this series just bombs, right? And which is unfortunate because Pedro Pascal as Mandalorian, I think, is great. Like, fantastic, even though you don't see his face at all. His voice in the suit really brings the character and gives it depth. Even though you can't see any expressions, you still feel his expressions, even though he's in a suit, right? So right. I do, but Grogu is very essential to this entire series, so they're going to keep him around as long as possible, as long as they can keep stroking that money and making toys and action figures and freaking plush dolls out of his likeness, because that was like a big. I don't think that they knew how big of a high demand Grogu was going to be, because whenever Mandalorian first dropped, there wasn't any merchandise surrounding Grogu at all.
Here's a problem that they made for themselves because they didn't have the foresight to think of this. So there's only 3 of Yoda's species in the known Star Wars universe, right? So if they're going to do anything with a Yoda figure moving forward, it's going to have to be Grogu, because there aren't any other ones in this era. And so they kind of painted themselves into a corner by creating him as a character in the first place, because the other two are long gone.
Right. Yeah. So that's how I feel. I got a feeling that we're going to see Grogu on a big screen at some point in time in the future, and he will have a prominent role in those particular films.
Let me ask you this. I got a trivia question. What is the name of the third of Yoda's species in Star Wars canon, without looking it up?
I was about to look it up.
Cheaters.
I do not. Godly, I knew it, probably 2-3 years ago. I don't know it now.
I don't even know Yoda's species.
No, they never mentioned it. No, her name was Yaddle.
Okay. Yep.
It was a female. Yep.
Well, how many years was that before Yoda?
That's a good question. Knights of the Old Republic era, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess she was technically a little bit older when Yoda was technically still younger.
Yoda, well, the Knights of the Old Republic was 10,000 years before. So Yoda was only 900 when he died. So yeah, they were not existing at the same time.
Okay. Gotcha.
Maybe it's something where only one of these species of Yodas can survive at a time, right? Because whenever Yoda was alive, whenever he died, then that's whenever this Grogu was born, and then before Yoda was this Yodelel Yohu character.
So Highlander. You talking about like a Highlander type thing?
It's possible. Because of the concentration of midi-chlorians, it could make sense.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Guys, give us your theory on that. Can there only be one? I mean, is that the way to do it? Give us your theory on that. So we're gonna jump into the episode. When the episode kicked off, I damn sure thought I was looking at a flashback. I thought maybe I was looking at a flashback of when they like christened Mando.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, as a crocodile, so oh damn, or some type of dinosaur creature, and I was like, damn, Bo, Mando had it rough out the gate. And then come to find out, said, no, this is just some other kid. And then that's when I seen Grogu in the back, and I was just scratching my head. I was like, man, they would. I mean, they would. I mean, you just feel lost right out the gate. Okay, right out the gate. And of course, the armorer, she knows that Mando has revealed his face. All right, which is against their covenant. For some reason, can somebody refresh me on the reason why that is?
Well, they were a breakaway sect from Mandalorian society, and part of their cultness was that they didn't remove the helmet.
Yeah.
You know how smelly that freaking helmet and how much dirt is inside of that freaking helmet?
Well, you can't take it off in front of another person. You can take it off when you're by yourself, but not in front of another person. No one's allowed to see the face.
Yeah, otherwise you're disgraced. And the only way for you to not be disgraced is to dip into the lakes in the Mandalorian home country. And I'm just like, what the hell they gonna do? I'm like, I've cleansed myself in the waters, and I'm just like, and that gets you forgiveness. I mean, is it like baptism? That's what it's kind of making it seem like. What do you think about that, Ryder? Almost like a baptism.
Well, I don't understand how this person would even know that he removed his helmet unless he told her that he removed his helmet. So it seems like he's just putting it on himself. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I removed my helmet. He's just rattling on himself. If he just didn't say anything, then it would be like it never happened.
Yeah, I don't know. This it's something that, like, there's a weird dynamic right there in between this cult of people. It's just kind of.
I get the honor and the integrity of it. I mean, obviously that's a good thing to do.
They're just bounty hunters.
If you know that
they're just bounty hunters.
If you know that it's going to create all these problems for you, and literally only one person saw you with your helmet off, and I think that person was a droid, was it not? Did that not happen in the end of the first season? Didn't he take it off and he was in front of that droid?
Oh, yeah. When he was about to die. Golly, but it's been so long since I've watched that.
But that's not even considered a human.
Yeah, but look, man. but nobody knew that the helmet got removed at that point in time. Nobody knew. They knew it the second time because, if I'm correct, he removed it in front of Grogu. So they knew it then. Which I don't think. Make sure that I'm correct on this. Technically, Boba Fett's not Mandalorian, right? But he's part of that same culture of people. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's not part of that breakaway sect.
Right. Okay. Because that's what, well, the first time I seen it, and it's like, oh, Boba Fett, and I was like, okay, Boba Fett was part of it, but then it's like, well, now Boba Fett's not part of this. So I was like, okay, so that's a little bit of a learning curve you got to have right there. If you don't, I'm assuming that these people have probably been in some of the books and things of that nature, talking about their culture. I know they got that series, The Bad Batch, which kind of gives you some backstory, especially like on the Darksaber. Which Mando still has. He still has the Darksaber. So I know some of that stuff gives you some backstory on that. So that's kind of another one of those things as far as being interconnected, even though those are animated series. Have y'all watched any of those? Bad Batch?
Mm-mm.
Or any of those particular programs? I do know some of those have some ties with as far as this culture and things of that nature. So we jump into that. The armor says, hey, you're disgraced. You're a piece of shit. You removed your helmet. And what's worse is that you did it of your own free will, which makes you even more of a coward and filthy in our eyes. So depart from me, for I never knew you. All right. So that's what they say. They give you the biblical verses of the Book of Mandalore. Okay. And so his whole premise is that he's going to find redemption and be, reintertwined within the sect of the Mandalorians. So he begins his journey, and he goes back to the city that was in the first season. Okay, now this particular city has changed. At first it was a haven for bounty hunters and things that night, pirates, and now it's became a thriving city. The pirates that he encountered at the beginning, I got a question because y'all seen the Book of Boba Fett. Were these pirates in the Book of Boba Fett?
Yes, there were pirates in the Book of Boba Fett.
They were? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it this same set of pirates?
I think so. I can't say with certainty, but I recall that Boba Fett had some run-ins with these local pirates.
Okay. Right. Have you watched the Book of Boba Fett? Have you seen that one?
I have, but I can't remember any details like that, who exactly they are. I watched it when it first came out, and I don't really remember, but I do know that Boba Fett's basically trying to take over this town from this other group of people, and he does have run-ins with these people in this town trying to take power and control back over it.
And then at the end, he cuts a deal with like the head honcho. So I don't understand the transition from Boba Fett to the current state of Tatooine with the Mandalorian and what's his face, Lando Calrissian.
Yeah. Doesn't it seem? It seems a little disjointed.
There's a distinct lack of continuity here.
Yeah, it seems a little disjointed, and that's and from what I've been seeing as far as people talking about it, that's how they felt too. They just felt like they missed something, like maybe it's missing a season. It's y'all skip something. I mean, that doesn't help me out. Now, as we said, Book of Boba Fett, but even with the way y'all describing things, you even feel like there's some disjointness in between those. Could you agree with that, Ryder?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would really have to go back and refresh on Book of Boba Fett. A lot of it had to do with Boba Fett's backstory of, when he was a kid and him being in the Bacta tank and getting these visions and, a lot of struggle in the desert and a lot of stuff like that. So the whole thing really wasn't centered around what's going on now, except when the Mandalorian joins in, and like I said, it's like a quasi Mandalorian season 3. Like you could look at Book of Boba Fett as Mandalorian season 3, and then Mandalorian season 3 as Mandalorian season 4. Is really the way that I would watch them. If you were going to watch them all together, I would start with the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, first season of Book of Boba Fett, and then third season of Mandalorian. But yeah, there did seem some kind of discombobulation going on there, where it looked like that they just skipped over a bunch of stuff. It was like you were mentioning earlier in the preview in the flashback of the previous season.
Yeah,
they didn't show
1.
anything to do with Book of Boba Fett or how Mando got Grogu back. None of that was given in there, and I'm like, what is this? Why are they doing this? And I knew that because I had watched all of them, that there was a lot of things missing. I feel like they could have just solved it all by actually putting together a congruent, something that makes sense in the previous episode in the beginning of the show. That would have brought a lot of things more together and people wouldn't feel so lost. But other than that, there does seem to be some kind of exposition of something missing from the episode. Because again, even though I saw everything leading up to it, I was still kind of like, what's happening? Like, what's going on here? And it kind of threw me for a loop there for a second, And I found that really weird that they did that, because they're normally really concise with these Star Wars shows and with Star Wars movies, because again, there's not a lot of them. It's not like the Marvel Cinematic Universe where there's shit all the time, 24/7.
Yeah, where they spread thin.
It's the Star Wars. They should be able to do a really freaking good job with the amount of properties that they're currently in production with on Star Wars. They should be able to make a very cohesive play-by-play of every single thing that they do, because it's not that difficult. Somebody very like a freaking 4th grader could put this shit together better than what they have, right? And there's not that much stuff to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now, Ryder, I know that when we were talking through Messenger, you had talked about the runtime on it, how you felt like you would have liked a few more episodes to start off with. So, Corey, are you okay with them only dropping 1 episode? Right here recently, they've been dropping multiple episodes, usually within the first week. Seeing how these episodes are short, do you think it would have been better if they had dropped a couple episodes?
No, they got to stretch this out. They got to stretch this out as long as possible. They're going to stretch this out for probably 9-10 weeks, right? How many episodes are going to be? 6?
I think
8, probably.
Oh, there are going to be 8. Oh, then if whatever they're going to do times it by like 1.5.
Not 100% sure. XQ would have to verify if it's going to be 8 or not. But
yeah, so if they do 8 episodes, they're going to stretch it out over like 12 weeks. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I you're right. You're right. I don't know. It's something about, and maybe because I was kind of turned off right at the gate, because I was trying to figure out what was going on. But it just kind of, I know what it is. Andor spoiled me. So I came off of Andor watching that and how good that was, and then I hit this, and I was just like, man, I feel like they could have had a little bit more in here. That's the way I kind of felt. Right, how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed in the runtime, but then looking back through all the episodes, they're all that same runtime, like you mentioned, X Cubed. But I did want something more. But then I'm thinking, what have we been complaining about this entire time, right? We've been complaining about that everything has to be super crazy, wild, and exaggerated. Why can't we do something small, like fighting neighborhood, bounty hunters and taking down the small guy? And that's exactly what they gave us in this episode. That's what the entire episode was about, was these small little bounty hunters coming to try and, take over this. Well, not really take over, but, talk to the mayor or whatever they're calling it in this series of this city. And, Mando takes them out, and that dude takes them out, and then they're following after Mando, right? It's a classic small little thing, like Spider-Man would be fighting a bank robber or some little small town criminal in his town.
Mhm.
That's
Well,
what this episode was.
Here's the problem that I have. Like, Mando is obviously confused. He doesn't know what the hell he wants, because in the beginning he tries to get back with his Mandalorian people, and then he goes and meets up with Linda Calrissian, and then he goes and meets up with what's her face, the real Mandalorian chick, right? And says, "I want to join up with you."
Oh,
and
yeah.
And she says no, right? And he leaves. And so, like, he's just going around trying to join up with people. Like, what's his deal? Does he not have any kind of basis or foundation? Like, can he not make up his mind? I mean, I don't see how these things are all mutually exclusive. So I don't understand what the fuck he was trying to do.
Yeah, he's a cult. Well, he's a cult whore, is what it seems like. He wants to be accepted somewhere. That's the whole thing, and so that's why he's going to try to bathe in the waters, even though they said that land's been stripped of said waters. And I'm assuming that we're going to get there in this particular episode, but what are we going to find when we get there? You know what I'm saying? I mean, do I really want to be reaccepted to the group that kicked me out of it?
You know, so far I got to say, in this first episode, I don't see anything that's giving us any hints of future storylines that are going to make me want to tune into the next episode. Like, nothing.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, it was kind of open-ended. I mean, we had him in the city with Grief Karga. That's the black guy. And, of course, he's kind of became ruler of it. And he's like, "Oh, Mando, good thing you're back. You know what I'm saying? I got a plot of land for you, and we can start, building, and we can make some money." And it's just like, and I was like, "No, man, I'm trying to take a bath, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to go wash up, bro. I mean, I ain't got time for this, man. I'm trying to go wash up." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then we got the pirates, and he kicks the pirates' ass after they kill some in the street. He beats them in a space duel. All right, so we've got that. And then we just kind of move over to where he's talking to Bo Katan, and she's just sitting there in a room. I mean, she's just sitting in a room on a chair. I'm just like, what the hell is this?
So I want to comment on that real quick. And like, I always thought it was kind of fucked up because, like, in video games, you're the main character in the video game, and you go walk into this place where you got to fight the big bad dude and save the damsel in distress. And the dude's just sitting there in this big chair. Like, he's just been sitting there waiting all day. Like, what have you been doing, my friend? You guys thought you guys do? Just kind of hang out and just sit around all day? And then I see her sitting in this long-ass room, the only person there. She ain't got a fucking TV on. It's like, what are you doing, chick? For real. Like, this is something that Hollywood just ain't figured out yet.
Yeah,
what are the bad guys doing when they're not doing bad shit? Like, at least with the fucking local street gangs, at least they're up playing pool in their hideout, or like, doing something,
poker,
right?
Or drinking alcohol, or trying to harass somebody or something. we got hobbies, okay? I got hobbies: drinking liquor, doing drugs, probably some type of sexual assault. That's our hobby. We're still doing pirate things, in our off time. And just like, oh man, Ryder, what did you think? Okay, because I know that the way the Mandalorian setup has always been kind of disjointed, and of course I skipped the part where he was trying to get the death droid back, and that goes extremely poorly. Man, the death droid, the bounty droid, man, this thing is tough as shit. Okay, I mean, man, putting all kind of rounds in it, rounds. This dude crawling around.
That was that IG-88? Was that the bounty hunter?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, this dude just crawling around. I mean, ain't got nothing but his upper torso and one arm, and he about to take him out. I'm like, what are y'all doing, man? And he's like, man, this is the only one I trust. I'm just like, man, can't somebody make another one? Damn it! I mean, just let your boy know. I mean, you got them little muskrats in the hole. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they had to have the cute moment with Grogu picking one of them up. I'm surprised he ain't try to eat him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So they had to have that moment right there. That was for the females. But I'm just like, I'm assuming that this bot's going to get rebuilt and is going to be vital at saving them at some point in time. But then we go from that, and then all of a sudden, we walking up to this chick sitting in a chair, and I'm just like, the hell going on, Ryder? What'd you think about that moment?
I thought that the whole thing with the droid was pretty interesting, but it's kind of, they're just playing off of the what was it, the first season? With that droid, they're just bringing somebody back from the first season. Just do something new, create something different. You know, we don't need to. No one gave a shit about that droid. That was freaking 3 years ago that we saw those episodes. Like, no one even remembers that freaking droid. Just create something different and better and new, right? But I did like the exposition between Mando and what was the chick's name that was sent down in the Emperor's
Bo-Katan Kryzen. Yeah,
Bo-Katan Kryzen. Oh, yeah, baby. Space pirate time. But I did like the exposition between him and her because she's basically setting up the plot for the rest of the series. Right, that's the only thing that I found that made any kind of sense in this entire episode. Right, she's like, "Do you still have the Darksaber?" And he's like, "Yes, I still have the Darksaber." And she's like, "Well, I can't lead them anymore. You have to lead them." Right, so
because she said that.
Yeah, based off of that exposition, I feel like that's where this series is heading. Is that Mando is going to run into these other Mandalorians, and he's going to be the leader of the Mandalorians. I mean, that's basically the lore of whoever has the Darksaber is the ruler of the Mandalorians. Like, that's what he should have done to that one chick whenever she was like, "Yeah, you're being exiled." He should have just whipped out the freaking Darksaber on her and been like, "Boom, bitch, look at this thing. What do you got to say now? Am I accepted back into this shit or not, girl? I'll cut your fucking throat right now."
Yeah, whipped it right out and been like,
"Motherfucker."
I mean, been just like that. But of course, you know, Bo-Katan in the first season, of course, she was trying to retrieve the Darksaber, and from what she says, the minute she didn't come back with it, everybody said, "Man, I ain't following this bitch no more." I mean, that's pretty much what they said. That's what she said. They said, "Man, bitch, man, we ain't following you no more. We done taking orders from you." So I guess once you lose all of your goons, the next thing you do is you go sit in a chair in a long ass room. I mean, and wait for somebody to come by. Good thing she was. You know what she felt like? She felt like an NPC. Mm-hmm. She felt like an NPC in a video game.
Exactly.
Like just sitting there waiting for you to come by and interact with it. Oh yeah, I got a quest for you. I was like, man, this is just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was there. Corey, nobody was there. I mean,
see, I see stuff like that in my mind.
Stick with her.
My mind automatically goes to logistics. Like, how much is that electricity bill? Who's working to pay that bill? She's just sitting around lounging all day. The future makes no sense in movies, really. From an economic standpoint, like, none of it should exist.
She ain't got nobody to sell it to. Even if she was trying to sell Center Cut, there ain't nobody there to sell it to.
Well, I mean, when you look at the rest of the first 3 Star Wars movies, that's what the Emperor did. That's what Emperor Palpatine did the entire of all the movies. They just sat in a freaking chair looking creepy and stoic. That was his job. So I guess she's taking up that mantle, and she's just sitting in chairs being stoic and creepy.
And I guess she'll still be there. You know, Mando comes back around, she'll still be there 4 seasons later. I'm still here. I'm waiting. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for my forces to return. So Bo, which is crazy, her name's Bo. Bo-Katan. That's a bad name, man. But she pretty much tells them that, hey, there ain't nothing there in Mandalore. You know, the Mandalorian's like, hey, you know, what's your plans to take Mandalore back? She's like, well, before even the Purge, there was nothing there. And of course, the Mandalorian's like, I don't believe you. Okay, so I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna find this river, all right, to lay down in and get rebaptized. And do you have to have witnesses? Do you have to have witnesses in order to for people to? Do you just come back with a cup of it? Do you get like a jar of it and bring it back?
Jesus is his witness.
Come on, man.
Ryder. Besides the Lord and Savior himself, how do you think that you prove to people that you dipped into these supposed mystic waters? Do you look different? Does your armor look different?
Well, that's what I was thinking too, because whenever Mando's talking to her, he's like, well, what if I can prove to you that I've bathed and been baptized in the waters of Mandalore? Right. And I mean, obviously he has a plan. I don't really know his plan. I don't know how he does that. If he takes a selfie of him inside being baptized in the waters underneath Mandalore, or if Baby Yoda somehow does something and he can learn how to speak English for 2.5 seconds and then verifies to her that he did in fact bathe in the waters of Mandalore. Who knows? But I'm guessing that it probably has something to do with him meeting up with the other Mandalorians that are a part of this Mandalorian cult, and they all go to Mandalore, and then they all witness.
Do you think he phones him? Phone a friend?
Yeah. That's a lifeline call right there.
he just get there and just like, hey guys, I'm here. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm about to go jump in. And that's it. So I mean, there's obviously some sacred ritual with these particular waters. Hopefully, they give us a little bit of backstory so we can understand the prominence of this. If somebody out there already knows, please let us know. And I think that's one of the things that this particular series doesn't do the greatest of, is have you fully understand the culture and like the backgrounds of this particular society. Like you get bits and pieces, but you're just like, man, I'm trying to get a congruent message on this particular society, and I really can't get any besides we're bounty hunters and don't take your helmet off. I mean, that's like it. I mean, that's kind of all I get.
I have one question for Disney, and I want them to answer. Where is Gina Carano? Where did she go? Did they just cancel her and fire her from this entire series because of her far-rightist views?
Disney is fake and gay, okay? So we can't ever expect anything overly good from them.
Man, they got folks with autism and attention deficit disorder making their content. You want to know how I know?
Man,
because they sent a letter in saying, man, it's detrimental for us to come back to work in the office. I was like,
fucking Ron DeSantis, basically, he's in Florida. He's stripping them of all their sovereignty that they've had for like 50 years down there. And he basically said Florida's going to control what Disney puts out.
No, there you go. Well, but I don't know, man.
I mean, I really liked the Gina Carano's character in the show, even though she was like really like butch and like, was a kind of a classic looking lesbian character. Like you would figure that she would be a lesbian just based off of the way that she looks. But I actually enjoyed her character. I thought she was a badass character in the show. And then they cancel her because of supposed far-right extremist views. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. They got rid of her because of the things that she was posting online.
You talked about that thing that shall not be named.
Related to. No. Yeah. That particular disease that is like Voldemort.
She didn't talk about the disease. She talked about that thing that happened about 70 years ago.
Oh yeah. She did talk about that too. I'm not sure if she went the route of the pokety poke either, but that's neither here nor there. of the old pokety poke. So her character scrubbed from the timeline. She probably went off somewhere, and maybe she got married, and maybe she's got a few kids, and she's no longer doing any bounty work anymore.
That just throws out previous characters that they can refer to from previous seasons, right? Because I don't think that there's really anybody that we've seen so far that we can actually go back to that seems familiar and gives some kind of continuity to the entire show. right? Besides that old lady, what's that old lady that was helping him fix his vehicle in the second season or whatever? But that they already did that.
Oh yeah,
Mando met her in the first season, and then he went back to her in the second season. So it would seem redundant and not creative to go back to her in the third season, which I don't put it past them. I figure they'll probably do some more bullshit like that, but they're running out of established characters to revert back to in newer seasons to give a familiarity to the audience, right?
I can agree with that. So yeah, guys, that's how this first episode ends. It ends with Mando walking out of the Hall of Shame, which is now Bo Katson's home, with nobody around, nobody to hold her. Is this like a is this like a parable almost? Like, older women and dying
I don't think
alone?
the people at Disney are smart enough to spell parable.
It's like, out of her prime. Oh, I better not say that, but we get canceled. Out of her prime, Lord have mercy. Let me say that.
No, she's got to be in her 40s.
Me?
She's still in her prime, right?
No.
I mean, I'll tell you, you get over 27, you ain't in your prime no more.
No, I mean, it's fine for me. I mean, that's what I prefer. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to get pregnant. They're usually way past that stage. So that's why I prefer that myself. But, most guys are looking for the young fertile. That's what they're looking for. The young and the fertile. So yeah, hey, YouTube gods and all that out there. Podcast gods. She's still somewhat in her prime, okay? I mean, oh boy. Yeah, so yeah, that's episode 1. Can we even make predictions? These episodes are so disjointed, they're not really, they don't flow linear in a linear path, kind of like the Andor series did. So, or even the other one that we're covering right now, me and Ryder, The Last of Us. So, even though that's had a couple of stinkers within it, it's been overall good, but it's had a couple of stinkers. So it's going to be really hard for us to make predictions of how this particular season is going to go, or what the next thing is going to be, because it from the way they got these particular TV series set up, it's usually disjointed. You just end up in a bunch of different places, and then the season will be over. So does anybody have any predictions?
We just got 35 minutes of absolute nothing, so there's like no basis for us to make any predictions on.
Ryder, did you get anything that you can make a prediction on?
No, only what I've already stated with Mando meeting the cat lady, Doja Cat, or whatever the freak her name is. Doja Cat, whatever. That, they're talking about the Darksaber, and the Mandalorian Mando has the Darksaber, and that he has to lead the Mandalorians, and he's going to be the king of the Mandalorians. That's literally the only thing that I got from this episode that is any kind of way, shape, or form predicting or trying to lay out more plot line in the future.
Look, I want the Darksaber in use. I mean, everybody's making a big deal about this Darksaber, and this thing been whipped out one time, okay? I'm just like, I'm like, Bo, y'all making a big deal about this thing like it's got some type of, extraordinary power. Like,
watch Book of Boba Fett. He uses it a lot in the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You see, once again, it's something like if you're like, well, nah, I just like the Mandalorian. I don't really want to watch Book of Boba Fett. Well, shit, you just think, hell, bud, this dude's had the Darksaber for however long, 4 or 5 years, and ain't never whipped it out, but he just got it. He just holding on to it.
Yeah, he slaughters some individuals with that Darksaber in Book of Boba Fett. It's pretty badass, actually.
Okay, well, I might have to go back and rally through that. Maybe that'll get me up to speed, to where I feel like I might be able to make a prediction, which I probably won't. But that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, guys, no predictions. It's just gonna be week to week, and whatever it puts up there, that's what we're gonna have to react to, because that's the way this particular TV series is set up. So that's episode 1, Mandalorian. We want to know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. What do you think about what we talked about Star Wars wise and things of that nature? Do we have any other Star Wars projects that we know that they're working on currently? I don't think we.
There's always talk of new Star Wars movies in their writing phases, but none of them has ever come to fruition. It's kind of like all the Game of Thrones series that HBO is supposedly making, and only 1 out of 10, which was House of Dragon, actually got to the screen or made it even past the pre-production of the show. So I kind of feel like they're just dragging their feet on purpose, because they kind of ruined the whole Star Wars series with those last 3 trilogy movies.
Yeah, the movie.
So they're going to have to cool it on the movies for a bit.
Yeah, Corey, I got a question for you, because me and you watched Andor. Did you, going from Andor to this, of course, is a completely different jump. Did it kind of sour you on the Mandalorian, jumping from what Andor was, which was, great storytelling, great writing? What do you think?
I pretty much compartmentalized that. Like, it was no impact on me at all. Like, I just kept them separate.
Okay. Because this Andor feels like it could happen in a non-Star Wars setting.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, the Mandalorian completely feels like, okay, yeah, we got Star Wars out here. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about on that. That's the way I felt about it. So yeah, guys, I think y'all are froze up on this. Okay. We're gonna wrap this up. Episode 1. Stay tuned. We're gonna be bringing some more stuff to y'all. The Ryder and Corey are gonna eventually watch Cocaine Bear, and we'll laugh about the points within that. Yep. So we're gonna get that to y'all, and so we'll be able to just shoot the shit on that one, because it's not really a storyline per se. It's just mindless fun, mindless action, and folks getting ripped apart. So be on the lookout for that. We got some other things we're gonna bring to you as well. We're gonna talk about the Aquaman screening in the future. Got a few more trailers we're gonna go through for y'all. So yeah, be on the lookout for that stuff. March, Shazam comes out. John Wick 4. The John Wick 4 is the one that I'm looking forward to. So I think that's going to be a good one there. So yeah, be on the lookout. We're going to be busy over the next few weeks. So from your boy HQ420, the aficionado Ryder Lee, the powerful one, Corey Hughes, we'll catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.